Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Madam Foz. So today, we're diving into a super engaging explainer on the special features of Excel. If you're prepping for your AIS205 paper, go ahead and grab your digital highlighters because this is going to make your revision an absolute breeze. We're basically taking complex spreadsheet functions and turning them into visual, super easy to understand concepts.
Okay, here's our stress-free roadmap for today. We're going to look at the magic of macros, IF and nested IF statements, and, or, and not logic, what-if analysis tools, and then we'll wrap up with some crucial exam tips. Now, I want you to imagine a scenario. Let's say you run this cute pastel-themed campus bakery. Business is absolutely booming, the aesthetic is perfect, but behind the counter? Well, you're constantly exhausted from typing up the exact same sales reports every single day. You know, you're copy-pasting, you're formatting, it's completely draining your creative energy. So, isn't there a better way to handle this in a real business environment?
Let's jump right into Section 1, the magic of macros. It's all about automating your tasks. Macros are literally your new best friend. They exist for one main reason, and that's to help you save precious time on repetitive tasks. When you have daily sales reports or data manipulation that needs to be done frequently, you absolutely don't want to do them from scratch every time. You want the system to do the heavy lifting for you.
So how does it actually work? Well, think of a macro kind of like an old-school tape recorder. You just hit record macro, perform your sequence of formatting and calculating steps just once, hit stop recording, and Excel memorizes the whole thing. Then, you just run it whenever you need that daily bakery report generated. Literally one click, and boom, it's done.
Moving on to Section 2, IF and nested IF. Time for some logical decisions. Let's tackle our next bakery challenge. We want to automatically calculate customer discounts without having to manually think about it at the register. The basic IF formula is a total lifesaver for business rules. The syntax is pretty simple, but so powerful. It tests a specific condition, right? And if that condition is met, it spits out a true value. If it's not met, it gives you a false value. It's essentially teaching Excel how to make a basic yes or no decision. For example, let's apply this to our bakery. If a student comes in and buys more than 10 cupcakes for their study group, well, the condition is met. Excel reads this as true and automatically applies a 10% discount. But if they buy fewer than 10, the condition is not met, so they get 0 discount. This completely prevents human error at the checkout counter. But you know, in the real world, businesses are rarely that simple. What if we have 3 different discount tiers, say silver, gold, and platinum, based on loyalty points? Well, this is where we use a nested if function. A nested if is really just an if function that becomes the true value inside another if function. It's like those Russian nesting dolls, but for logic.
And this brilliantly illustrates a nested if. If you look at this visual logic map closely, you can see how one if condition checks a rule, and if it's fulfilled, it drops right down into another if condition before finally reaching that ultimate true or false outcome. This step-by-step evaluation is a huge exam point to remember for AIS205. Basically, when you need multiple outcomes, you nest your ifs.
All right, Section 3, and or not logic, dealing with complex conditions.
Let's level up our bakery logic even further and look at rules with multiple complex conditions. This brings us to a famous trio, and, or, and not. First up is the and function. Think of this as the strict professor of logical functions. The absolutely crucial point about and is that every single condition must be met for the outcome to be true. If even one tiny condition is missed, the whole thing defaults to false.
What's really interesting about this tree is how clearly it shows that strictness. Imagine a bakery promotion where, to get a free muffin, a customer must buy a coffee and show a valid student ID. If they buy the coffee but forget their ID, well, look at the right side of the tree. Any unfulfilled condition means the whole outcome goes straight to false. No muffin for you.
Conversely, the or function is much more forgiving. It's like the friendly barista of logic functions. Because with or, if just one single condition out of many is met, you get a true value. You only get a false if absolutely every single condition fails.
Looking at this OR logic tree, you can really see how flexible it is. Let's say our bakery offers a combo discount if a customer buys a slice of cake or they buy a premium coffee. The condition branches straight to true if they have just one of those items. Any fulfilled condition equals true. They literally only get a false if they buy neither.
Finally, we have the not function. Now, this one loves to flip things completely upside down.
It's a bit of a rebel. If a condition is originally true, wrapping it in a not function makes the outcome false, and vice versa. If the condition is false, it forces the outcome to be true.
Let's look at this logic tree super carefully. See how the fulfilled path actually leads to false and the not fulfilled path leads to true? Actually, my students often get tripped up right here in exams when they're trying to reverse a true statement into a false one. Just remember, not simply reverses whatever the original answer was supposed to be.
Let's move on to Section 4, What-If Analysis Tools, Forecasting Outcomes.
Let's consider a really big business problem. What happens to our beautiful pastel bakery's profits if the global price of our baking ingredients, like flour and butter, suddenly skyrockets? How do we prepare for that? We don't just guess, we use data. And this is exactly where what-if analysis comes in. This incredible feature lets us safely simulate those hypothetical price changes and see exactly how they'd affect the outcome of the formulas in our worksheet, all without actually messing up our real data.
There are 3 highly specific tools under the what-if command that you really need to know. For your AIS205 final, grab that highlighter again because you must absolutely memorize these 3: Scenario Manager, Goal Seek, and Data Table. They each forecast outcomes differently, but they are all essential for strategic business planning.
Okay, Section 5, Exam Tips and Summary. Let's quickly review those key concepts.
Wow, we have covered some fantastic ground today. Let's gather all these beautiful Excel tools together for a quick summary before you hit the books and practice these in your spreadsheets. Remember, you gotta study smart, not hard. Let macros handle the boring repetition. Let if and nested if statements make your automated business decisions. Use your and, or, not logic functions to enforce those complex bakery rules. And finally, confidently forecast the future with what-if analysis.
I always tell my students, you have totally got this. Accounting information systems doesn't have to be intimidating at all. Just master these Excel features so they can do the hard work for you, while you sit back and absolutely ace that exam.
Before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. Beyond just passing your exams, how will you use a tool like what-if analysis to strategically plan the next big move in your own future career or maybe even your own startup? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.